A. Words and expressions for specific colours.
Pitch black, intensely black, used about darkness, night, and so on. Jet black, intensely black, used about hair, eyes, and so on. Scarlet, very bright red. Crimson, strong, deep red. Shocking pink, an extremely bright pink. Ginger, orangey red, used about hair and animal fur. Navy, dark blue, used about clothes, not eyes. Turquoise, greenish blue, used about fabrics, paint, sea, and so on, but not usually eyes. Lime, a bright yellowish green. Beige, a light creamy brown. Mousy, a light not very interesting brown, used only about hair. Chestnut, a deep reddish brown, used about hair and horses. Auburn, a red-brown colour, usually used about hair. A number of words for gemstones are also used as colour adjectives. For example, ruby, emerald, amber, coral, sapphire, jade.
B. Words for talking about colour. Red, blue and yellow are primary colours. By mixing them together you can make other colours. Pastel colours are pale shades of colour. Pink, mauve and pale yellow, for example. Strong colours are the opposite of pastels. Harsh colours are colours that are unpleasantly strong. Vivid colours are strong, bright colours, like scarlet or turquoise. Fluorescent colours are very bright colours which seem to glow in the dark. Electric blues or greens are extremely bright blues or greens. If white has a tinge of green, there is a very slight shade of green in it. If something is monochrome, it uses only one, or shades of one, colour. For example, black, white, and grey. The suffixes y and ish show that a colour is partly present. For example, bluey green, reddish brown. C. Colour metaphors.
Blue. Depression. To feel blue. Physical or unskilled. Blue-collar workers. Red. Anger. To see red, to be very angry. Danger. Red alert, a red flag. Special importance. For example, all the competitors were given the red carpet treatment. The day we met will always be a red-letter day for me. Communist or very left-wing in politics. For example, people's views sometimes become less red as they get older. Green. Nausea. To look green. For example, people who are seasick often turn or go green and sometimes vomit. Envy. For example, she turned green with envy when she saw her friend's new car. Care for the environment. For example, green tourism. The Green Party. Black. Depressing or without hope. A black future. Anger. To look as black as thunder. Illegality or incorrectness. Black market, black sheep of the family. Black mark. For example, during the war, people bought many goods illegally on the black market. If I don't finish this report in time, that'll be another black mark against my name. My brother was the black sheep of the family, leaving school and home at the earliest opportunity. Grey. Lack of clarity. A grey area. Brains. Grey matter. Grey cells. White. Purity. white as snow, whiter than white. Being pale, for example, she was so shocked that she went white as a sheet. A white-knuckle ride at an amusement park such as Disneyland. Office workers. White-collar workers.
A. Going fast. These verbs suggest going somewhere very quickly on foot or in a vehicle. Dash, fly, race, tear. I dashed into the classroom to pick up my books.
She came flying out of her house.
I raced to the station and just made it in time for the last train. I tore to the station and just made it in time for the last train.
The verbs nip and pop suggest going a short distance quickly, on foot or in a vehicle.
I nipped into a nearby shop to buy a bottle of water. I popped into a nearby shop to buy a bottle of water.
The verb dart suggests a quick, sudden movement, often by an animal. A dragonfly darted past.
I darted behind the door to hide.
The verbs zip and whiz are often used about vehicles going quickly.
The bus whizzed past me just as I got to the bus stop. The bus zipped past me just as I got to the bus stop.
The verb bolt also suggests fast movement over a short distance, but it also has the added association of running away from something.
The thieves bolted when the alarm went off.
The verb career suggests that something is moving rapidly and is out of control. The car skidded and careered down a bank.
The company seems to be careering into financial ruin.
The verbs scamper, scurry, scuttle suggest small rapid steps, often used to describe the way a small animal runs.
As we went into the dark shed, we saw mice scampering away and spiders scurrying into corners.
Cockroaches scuttled into a crack in the floor.
These verbs emphasize the fact that speed is increasing. Speed up, accelerate. Accelerate is used only about transport, whereas speed up can also refer to movement on foot. Both verbs can be used figuratively. We'd better speed up if we're going to get there on time.
The growth of the company has accelerated since it started exporting.
B. Going up or down fast. These verbs suggest a downward movement as well as speed. Plunge, plummet. He put on a life jacket and plunged into the icy water. Notice that they are mainly used metaphorically.
When export sales began to decline, our hopes of business success plummeted.
After the death of his father, he was plunged into despair.
These verbs suggest a fast upward movement. Rocket, soar. Notice that they are mainly used metaphorically and have strong associations with financial matters such as prices and share values.
When our export sales rocketed, our hopes soared.
The primary association of soar is with birds, and when it is used about people's feelings, it provides associations of happiness and being carefree. My heart soared when I heard that he was coming home. The opposite of soar and rocket in a financial context would be slump or tumble. Both suggest a rapid downward movement.
Share prices slumped on the stock market yesterday, with telecommunications companies tumbling most dramatically of all. Share prices plummeted on the stock market yesterday, with telecommunications companies tumbling most dramatically of all.
C. Going slowly. These intransitive verbs emphasize that the movement is slow. Crawl, creep. They are often used metaphorically.
Prices have been creeping up since May.
It was rush hour and the traffic was crawling along. Totter also suggests a fairly slow movement, but it is one that is particularly unsteady as well.
Mina tottered down the road laden with parcels and bags.
Sidle means to walk anxiously and nervously.
Sam sidled up to the boss's desk and coughed to attract his attention.
Dawdle means to move more slowly than is necessary, or to waste time.
Don't dawdle on the way home.
A. Cause verbs and their collocations. The differences between these verbs are best learned by observing their typical collocations.
Cause. Cause usually collocates with negative results and situations. For example, the new computer system has caused us a lot of problems. His stomach cancer was caused by exposure to radiation. Collocations. Sadness or unhappiness. A lot of, trouble or problems. An illness, for example, pneumonia. A disaster or an accident. Produce. Produce is more neutral and deals with more concrete results. It is used in formal contexts. For example, scientists can produce statistics and figures that can prove almost anything. Cooking the dish for a long time at a very low heat produces the best results. Collocations. A report. Statistics or figures. Good results or evidence. Give. While cause usually collocates with negative situations, give can be used for positive or negative ones. Give is less formal than cause. For example, our dog has given us a lot of pleasure over the years. This car is giving me so much trouble, I'm going to get rid of it. Collocations. A lot of, pleasure or happiness. A reason or motivation for something. A lot of, trouble. Good results. Generate. Generate is often used in contexts where people are forced to do more than usual, and in computer contexts. It sometimes has a rather negative feel. It is used in formal contexts. For example, it's going to be difficult to generate sufficient interest in the project. The government will have to generate the extra funds somehow or other. Collocations. Revenue or income or money. Complaints or extra work or controversy. Graphics or documents. Interest or enthusiasm or publicity.
B. Other cause words.
The news provoked a feeling of despair in everyone.
The events precipitated a political crisis. The events sparked a political crisis.
The invention of the car brought about great changes in society.
Your action has resulted in a formal complaint from a member of the public.
His problems stem from his difficult childhood.
Have you any grounds for suspecting him?
The proposal has implications for traffic in the area.
My argument is based on the available data.
A. Talking about similarity.
I often feel there is a cultural affinity between London and New York. I felt an affinity with the writer as I read this novel.
Closeness, similarity. Feeling that different things or people have much in common.
Her singing is more akin to that of Rihanna than Adele.
Similar in spirit or feel.
To use a sporting analogy, Middle age is like half time at a football match.
See similarities that help us understand something.
The picture this news article paints does not correspond to the truth.
Is not equal to or does not match.
It's a mistake to equate the price of something with its true value.
Consider as the same.
She knew that to apologise would be tantamount to admitting she had failed.
The equivalent of. Normally used in negative contexts.
The goals of the two sides in the war have become almost interchangeable.
So similar that they could be exchanged one for the other.
Mrs. Burton's house was indistinguishable from all the others in the street.
So similar you cannot see the difference.
B. Talking about difference. Adjectives beginning with DI.
The diverse ethnic groups living in Malaysia give the country its cultural richness.
Used to show a group is made up of different types of something.
The disparate regions of Spain all have unique customs and cultures.
Used for different types within a group, but emphasizes separation and difference.
This house is not dissimilar to the one I was born in.
Very often used with not.
They have widely divergent opinions.
Often used to show contrasting opinions or ideas within a group.
The Swedish and Norwegian languages are quite distinct from one another, even though they look similar when written.
Used to describe differences where one might be deceived by similarities.
It's easy to find our car in a car park because of its distinctive colour.
Used to describe something that is easy to recognize because it is different.
There are several discrete categories of verbs in English.
Different and separate, not overlapping. Note the verbs associated with some of the adjectives above. To differentiate, to diversify, to diverge, to distinguish.